What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope you're all doing well. Start with some baseball real quick. The Seattle Mariners extend Victor Robles. He got a 2-year extension worth $9.75 million. Robles been the top prospect with the Washington Nationals. Outfielder a bunch of years ago. 2019, he had a really good year. Finally looked like he was on the verge of breaking out in the following season. He was a big part of their World Series team in 2019. Kind of fell off a cliff from there, and was basically, completely off the radar. Got to a horrendous start this year with the Nationals. Was 3 for his first 25. Got DFA'd in June. Seattle scooped him up for death, and he's played really well in 42 games with the Mariners. At 303, with a 372 on base, 450 slugging, 821 OPS. He's been really good defensively in the outfield. He's been hitting leadoff for them for a while. He's found himself again in Seattle, and signed him to extension. Now keep him in Seattle, looks like, for the next 2 years. Toronto Maple Leafs name Austin Matthews their captain. John Tavares has been their captain since he signed with them a bunch of years ago. He's giving up the captaincy to Austin Matthews. Not sure how this is going to help much. I guess we're trying for like a new lead voice in the locker room, but it's still the same regime, same management with Brendan Shanahan as president of hockey operations. Brad Trebling is second year as GM there. Obviously, you have a new coach now, but I don't know how this is really going to change anything. Nothing against Matthews. He's an incredible talent. He's probably the best pure goal scorer in the NHL with Ovechkin towards the end of his career. He's approaching 40. I would say Matthews is the best pure goal scorer in the league. There are not 5 high players there in Austin Matthews right now. But not sure how this is going to change anything for the Leafs, who obviously they've won one playoff series in 15 years, whatever it is. That's won a Stanley Cup in like almost 60 years. This is gonna help. Anytime soon. They still have very shaky goaltending and defense, so I'm not really sure how it's going to change anything. But on to football, let's talk. Let's do the Madden ratings and continue with my Madden rating series, doing top 10 for each position day by day. Let's do the tight ends today. Number 10 is Kyle Pitts at an 83. Number 9 is Dalton Schultz at an 84. Charles Goddard is number 8 at 85. Sam Laporta's at 7 with 86. Evan Engram's at 6 with an 88. Njoku's at 5 for 90. T.J. Hawkinson's at 91. He's 4th. Number 3 is Mark Andrews with a 94. Kittle is a 97. He's 2nd. And Travis Kelce is a 99. He's part of a 99 club. He's number 1. The top 10 was pretty solid. I would have probably argued you put Cole Kmet and Trey McBride. They were 83 and 82 respectively, ahead of Pitts and Schultz, who were 83 and 84. Probably would have swapped. I would have probably had Kmet at like an 84, 85, and McBride at 83, 84. And I would have put Schultz and Pitts at like 81, 82. So I would have probably swapped those guys. Other than that, that's really the only issue I had. Maybe put Evan Engram a little bit lower. Still in the top 10. Put Laporta a little bit higher. Njoku was very good. Not sure if he's a 90. He might be a smidge high. This is one of the best, but far from the worst. The quarterbacks were not very good. The running backs were good at all. Both the wide receivers were pretty accurate, surprisingly, considering Madden's track record lately. Like, for example, Dalton Kincaid is 79. No way he's worse than Dawson Knox. Obviously his teammate. That's far too low. I would have had him in like the low 80s as well. I would have had him at least probably an 88, 182. He's a 79. It's a little bit low. He's not, he's not the second best tight end on his own team. Dawson Knox should be a little lower. So, but these weren't bad. I thought they had as for the 10 names they had in the top 10, I'll say 8 of the 10, they're probably accurate. And you could argue Schultz and Pitts over Kmet and McBride. You probably could argue that. I would say otherwise. Like I said, I would probably mean Njoku and Engram a smidge lower, but still in the top 10. I probably would have put Laporta a little bit higher. I put him ahead of Njoku. Would have swapped those two. If you want Laporta at 90, maybe put him like an 88 and put Njoku like 80, 86. You could make an argument that Kelce shouldn't be in the 99 club. Last year he did have some injuries. It wasn't his best year ever. Didn't have 1,000 yards for the first time in a while, but he also missed a bunch of games. He had battled injuries throughout the whole season. He had some drop issues, which I think were because of the injuries. but the guy is still a stud to me. He's still the best tight end in the league, and but you could have argued maybe he should be 97 or 98, but he's still the best tight end in the league. With that, let's now do my top 10 rankings, my top 10 tight ends. Probably could have guessed it what I just said, but what names I have. Well, let's get started. Number 10, Trey McBride had a really good rookie season in Arizona. 81 catches, 825 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Obviously, the red zone volume wasn't really there. Arizona's obviously had a rough year last year, very young. Obviously, Tyler missed the first half of the year coming up with 20 ACL. So you had Josh Dobbs and Clayton Tune the first 8 or 9 games. But the guy still had 80 catches. I'm sure you had to go like Dobbs, who doesn't have a great arm. And Tune, obviously, the one game he played a game or two. He's not very good. So, I'm sure they were looking for the security blanket a lot. The receiving core wasn't very good last year. If you look up DeAndre Hopkins, now you have Marvin Harrison in the fold. So I'm sure he got a lot of volume, but played very well. I think he is just enough good to be in the top 10. I'm sure if Kyler being fully healthy, that'll help. And Harrison, will he have as many catches? Maybe not with Marvin Harrison in the fold. But also he'll probably have more space out there, so which I think he'll probably be more effective with the Arizona Cardinals, honestly. I have Cole Kmet. Last year, 73 catches for 719 yards and 6 touchdowns. Was second-round pick at Notre Dame a few years ago. First couple of years, didn't love what I saw, but over the last couple of years, he's really developed into a very good tight end for the Chicago Bears. Also, you draft Caleb Williams, number 1 overall. Having a good solid tight end like that is very useful. It's very underrated. And he'll be help. He's become a very good tight end for the Chicago Bears. I have him at 9. Number 8 is Evan Engram. Last year, he had 114 catches, which was the most by any tight end by a pretty good margin and was one of the tops in the entire league. 963 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's the guy who was first picked up the Giants, had a lot of droppies with the Giants, was a big pain in the ass with Giants fans. He was one of the least like Giants I've seen in a while, but has really blossomed since coming to Jacksonville. They 2 years ago signed him to a 1-year deal. He had the best year of his career, ended up tagging and eventually working out a longer-term deal, and last year had an even better year than the year before. As he's seen his career blossom. Look what happens when you go from Daniel Jones and whatever other guards they ran out there when Jones has been hurt last couple of years. Tyrod Taylor, all these other backups they've had when Jones has been hurt, when Engram was there, and to Trevor Lawrence, who hasn't been a star yet, but he's at least been decent, and he got a quarterback, and he's blossomed. He's turned into a very good tight end. Number 7 is Dallas Goedert. 59 catches for 562 yards and 3 touchdowns last year. Obviously down the stretch wasn't as effective like the entire Eagles team. Jalen Hurts took a step back last year, but he's become a very good tight end. I think he may have also went to Notre Dame. He's always been very talented. He's produced pretty much since he got there. Obviously, a few years ago, Philly lets Zach Ertz go and give the reins to Goddard, and that was a great decision because Ertz is now retired, and Goddard has become one of the better tight ends in all football. Number 6, I have David Njoku. Last year, 81 catches, 880 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Another former first-round draft pick. First couple of years wasn't great. Dallas Minter wasn't really as effective as he probably should have been. He also had, obviously, a lot of quarterback issues over there in Cleveland with Baker Mayfield and whoever else they ran out there. Last couple of years has really developed into a legit weapon in the middle of the field. Hasn't mattered who's quarterback from where it's been, injured Deshaun Watson or, Joe Flacco at the end of his career or whoever they've run out there. Njoku has been a really good security blanket. Had a really good year last year. Recently got a 4-year extension the year prior. I have him at 6. Number 5, I have Sam Laporta. Laporta as a rookie was really, really good. I wasn't sure if that was the right pick in the second round by Detroit last year. I thought they might have reached, but he proved me wrong. Another Iowa tight end who has become an absolute star. 86 catches for 899 yards and 10 touchdowns. Absolute stud in his first year. He's going to be a great player for a very long time. I have him at number 5. Number 4, I have TJ Hockenson. 95 catches, 960 yards, and 5 touchdowns, and that's with missing the last few games of the year because of a torn Achilles. So I'm probably missing the start of the year this year. When he's healthy, whoever the Vikings quarterback is, whether it's Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy, whoever it is, I'll be very happy because he was always very good in Detroit. There from Iowa time, he was the more top 10 pick actually, and his first year didn't do a whole lot. Stafford was at the end when he was Detroit 10 when he was there, but since then He was always very good in Detroit, and he's completely blossomed into a star since coming to Minnesota. And Mark Andrews, I have at number 3. Injuries last year, only played 10 games, and he missed the first playoff when the Ravens played in. 45 catches, 144 yards, and 6 touchdowns in those 10 games. Obviously, if he was healthy, he would have played another 7 games. You do the math there, it would have been easily in line with his career pace. The guy's become an absolute stud. Ravens have had a lot of big, kind of a revolving door when it comes to the receiver room for the Ravens ever since they drafted Lamar Jackson. The one constant's been Mark Andrews. They took him in the 3rd round. I think the same year that they took Lamar, actually. Yeah, they took Hayden Hurst in the 1st round that year. I think Andrews ended up being the better player in that draft. And he's an absolute stud. Number 2, I have George Kittle last year, 65 catches, 1,020 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Hit the most yards of any tight end last year. He mostly helped for the first time in a few years last year, and was the next most creative bucket for Brock Purdy last year. He's obviously developed into a top 3 tight end for many years now, and he continued that pace last year. And number 1, I still have Travis Kelce. Slight down for his standards last year, but still 93 catches, 984 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Was still a star tight end for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Missed a couple of games. He played through a lot of injuries last year. He's getting a little bit older, but guy's still a stud, and to me is the best tight end in the game of football. All right, so came out yesterday that Hassan Redick has requested a trade from the New York Jets. So he got permission to seek a trade when he was in Philly, still in Philly. And he was sent to the Jets for a draft pick. And but he won the contract because I've had trouble agreeing to a contract with him. He's obviously still afraid. We still saw him even with OTA starting. He was like in another country, like just walking around. It was very, very weird. Here's my take on this. Look, the Jets were very silly and stupid to trade for him. They didn't give up a whole lot. They gave up like a pick, like a late round pick of 26. So it was like a 6th rounder in 2026. So they gave up nothing for him. They were stupid to trade for a guy who wanted out because he wanted the contract extension and not, extend him right away. That was very stupid. But at the same time, so the guy was unhappy in Philly. He gets traded. So he gets what he wants. He gets traded to, a spot that he felt better off in. That was in April. In May, June, July, August, 4 months later, I said, "Oh, I want to trade again." Like, you don't get to do that. He wants to be traded. Well, I want a Corvette. Like, I don't think it's going to happen. And I know it's not going to happen. Like, what we want? I'm sorry, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. Just have his rights next year. Play or don't play. First of all, yes, it would stink to give up a pick. I mean, they give up nothing and then trade him. I mean, the reason they traded away John Franklin Myers, who's a great locker presence and a really solid guy in the middle of that defense, because you got Franklin Myers making $14.5 million a year. You got to pay Redick probably north of 15. All the other contracts we have, you can't afford both. You also don't need both, so you trade away Franklin Myers, who sucked, to get rid of him for nothing. And also that allowed him to not be. They couldn't re-sign Bryce Huff. He was probably the replacement for Bryce Huff. For the most part, he got a $50 million deal from the Eagles as all season. He had 10 sacks last year, Bryce Huff. But at the same time, even with Franklin Myers getting moved, Bryce Huff now in Philly, and if Redick wouldn't come to the team this year, the Jets still have an incredibly deep and talented front seven. They still have a top 5 defense in the league. So they should always say we're not trading him. So my advice to him, either maybe they agree on the extension. I don't know. I'd be happy for that. He's one of the only other guy, but besides him, is Myles Garrett, has had 10 sacks at least in each of the last 4 years. So he's a great player, one of the better pass rushers in the league. I'd love to have him. But I don't just have no reason to trade him. They have his rights. My advice to him is, or you can keep trying to get an extension done. If you don't get one done, your player don't play because you're really not going to get moved. It's just not going to happen. And some unfortunate news out of camp with the Minnesota Vikings. First round draft pick, 10th overall. J.J. McCarthy is undergoing knee surgery for a slight tear in his meniscus. I don't know what the timetable is right now. He's out indefinitely. But the surgery timeline for what he's getting is normally 4 to 6 weeks. So the Vikings' first game, I believe, is September 5th with the rest of the league, or maybe something like that. So that would probably roll him out for through at least probably the first couple of games of the season. Well, it looks like Sanders will definitely start week 1 for the Vikings. If he, best case scenario is probably him getting back probably around the middle of September. So that would probably, he could come back for like week 3. Worst case, based on what the timeline is normally for that injury and the operation he's having, would be closer to like a week 5. He's a rookie. He's supposed to be their future. They don't want to rush him back if he gets back, the day after week 4. You don't want to go, oh, you're in week 5. So if I had to guess, we probably won't see him until close to week 8 or 9. I was thinking by week 5 or 6 we were going to see him either way. I know Darnold was probably going to start the year anyway. What I've been hearing, but I would think by week 5 or 6 they'd have McCarthy in there. But I could see that being a little closer to week 8 or 9. You want to rush the guy back. They said if the guy's getting to go by week 2 or 3, maybe we still see him by week 5 or 6. You never know. But McCarthy, unfortunately, will be out. Most likely about 4 or 6 weeks, but we won't know exactly until he has the surgery. All right, let's close this thing out. Friday Night Smackdown from this past Friday. Obviously, the main event was the big thing, but we had the Street Profits. Before defeated A10 Down Under. That match was kind of boring. They need to bring up the Street Profits. They kind of fumbled with those two with Bobby Lashley. Of course, they let Bobby Lashley go. So it's pretty clear that Montez Ford is really talented and could be a really good mid-carder in wrestling for a while. Andrew Dawkins really isn't that talented whatsoever. He's kind of funny, but as a wrestler, not that good. I've been trying to say, and a lot of people have agreed with me, they got to break those two up for a couple of years now. It just hasn't happened. They defeated A10 Down Under. I wouldn't mind if those two break up, and I think they'll happen eventually. Chelsea Green and Pepper Devon tried to defeat Shred and Nia Jax. He had that old segment. And yeah, Jade Carter against Alba Fire. Jade won the match. But then Blair Davenport kind of involved there. Then Fire Iowa Dawn attacked Jade and Bianca, but then Naomi McKinnon made the save. So that's getting somewhat interesting now. The women's tag division. LA Knight, he did came out and cut a promo. He just won the United States Championship. Then Legado del Fantasma came out. Of course, led by Escobar, and he started going at it, and Andrade came out. They had their match, and Escobar won. They kind of stole with the help from Carmelo Hayes. So Escobar is now going to fight LA Knight for the U.S. title. He's the #1 contender. It looks like Andrade and Carmelo Hayes will be feuding, and they've been kind of going back and forth for a few weeks now. Let's set that up. And then, rest in peace to Kevin Sullivan. He was a former wrestler, and he also was a booker for WCW. So rest in peace to Kevin Sullivan. And then you had DIY, of course, Gargano and Champion defeated pretty deadly Elton Prince and Kate Wilson. Makes them the #1 contender for the WWE Tag Team titles. I'm sure they'll have a match soon. It's kind of obvious they're going to win. You're not going to have pretty WWE challenge for the title. And then, of course, the main event. Solo and the Bloodline comes out. First, when Reigns comes out, and Solo and Lowe tried to attack him, and then one took down the entire Bloodline just on his own. If you saw Amatanga, he had a little glare at the Ulafala. Interesting. We'll see if the seed's going to be planted later on. I think it was honestly kind of a letdown. I went to the rest of the card. We had a couple of tag matches that were very boring. Street Profits against A10 Down, who cares? DIY against Pretty Deadly. The match was fine. It was just so odd that DIY was going to win. Since versus Andrade, that was a very good match. Andrade is a really talented wrestler, as is Escobar. Avalanche promo, as always, was very entertaining. Jay versus Double Fire, the match itself was kind of lame. He said it wasn't until after the match. And also, maybe they got 8 minutes. I remember there was 15 minutes till the show ends, and then all of a sudden, 3 W's on my screen. I'm like, no, I need to see the Tribal Chief. I don't know why they should have. I would have given them a solid 15-20 minutes. But I think Smackdown did absolutely roll either way. All right, That's all I got for you guys today. Before we close out, just want to say my NFL preview has been tentatively planned for August 19th. That is this Monday. That's the plan. That could change depending on what happens, but that is my plan, is to do it on the 19th. I would have done it already, but I've been going back and forth a lot, and I would like to do that in the studio. But my plan is to do it on the 19th. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.